Thanks to the support as a channel member, Harold Rotmo. Well, as if the designated player nonsense wasn't enough, it's now caused a player mutiny and we've had to sell half the team. And ridiculously, even having done that, as you can see, we're still doing better than we were last season by miles. We're up at 4th in the league in our conference. I haven't actually looked for a little while how that puts us in the Supporters' Shield. So mid-table in that, so no danger of qualifying for the Champions League through that. But we are well on course to make it into the playoffs. We're not going to win the conference, but who cares? But we are on course as things stands to head to the playoffs, which of course is then a route into the Champions League. That way, we're not going to get in via the Lamar Hunt Cup because we've already been knocked out of that by Atlanta United. And as you can see, our form has been rough. Anyone who's played a lot of FM24, I've played a lot of FM24, will recognise that run of form. That's there's a squad mutiny going on run of form. And yeah, we've had the mutiny. We're coming out just the other side of it now. They still want some strength in depth at right back, which, yeah, you're telling me, whatever your name is, yeah, Dorry, Porry. Don't know. I still don't know what that letter is. What's your second name? Stephen. Steve. Yeah. I mean, I'm there with you. I do agree we need a right back. However, that doesn't tell the whole story. We've had to shift some players out. As you can see, Resnick and Davies are both leaving us as soon as the European transfer window opens again, or even the Mexican one, I guess, in June. So we've got like a month left of them being at the club, but neither of them are registered in the squad anymore. We've also traded out a number of other players who were causing issues for us, as you can see. Which way around does this go? Caracas, who'd only just come in, has now been traded out again. I just don't see how this can possibly be good business. We spend £5 million on him. He plays 9 matches, and then the only way we can get shot of him is to trade him to Columbus, who are running away with the league, by the way, and he goes straight into their team. So shows he was a good signing, but I don't think I'll ever get my head around spending money on him and then letting him go in exchange for a 4th pick in next year's super draft and some general allocation money. It just seems like terrible business. We have brought this guy in as a replacement, just as a body in the squad. But yeah, there's a few of these boys who've moved on. This is another one we spent money on in the summer or winter, or whatever you call it. And he's now moved on as well. And yeah, the squad is looking pitiful, but we are still, I mean, Deluli can now play right back, which is nice. We have no midfield, which is less nice, because, I mean, yeah, there's just no midfield left. But we are still 4th in the league. Yes, we've been knocked out of cups, but we did win in our last game. We've got an absolute ton of money to spend if I could just figure out how to spend it. Oh, this season. Let's go and beat Nashville. Nashville are, let's see where they are in the league. Nashville are down in 9th place. They play at Geodis Park in Nashville. Let's go and have a look at that, shall we? So for those of you like me wondering where Nashville and indeed Tennessee is on a map, it's there, near where the chicken comes from. And if we zoom in, it looks like it's a fairly traditional, like, it looks like a football ground. It's relatively city centre. If we have a look at it on the aerial view, it looks like a football ground. So I think this is one of those purpose-built actual football stadiums, because that looks like, I mean, that could be in the Championship here. Is that a little standing area in the corner, or is that the disabled area? I can't tell. That's an interesting little corner. They seem to have that in every corner. Oh, apart from over there. Are they empty seats? I think they are empty seats. It's a weird seat pattern, that's for sure. And there's not very many people here, but I think it was training going on today. I want to have a look at it from outside as well, just to see if we are as central as it appears we are. Oh, that's a lovely shot. Oh, I want to move to Nashville. I can't rotate the camera. Can we have a look at it from another angle, please? We're supposed to have a look. I want to go onto this street. Get me on this street. Oh, it looks nice. What a nice area this is. I tell you what, boys and girls, I might go and live in Nashville. They've even got a little club shop out the front. This is nice. What are they doing there? Leasing. There's a barista parlour. Look, they're loving the fact that Google car's going by. Well, there you go. What a lovely area of what appears to be a lovely town. Let's go beat them. Because goodness me, we do need to beat them. We need to continue our little winning run that we're now on. So it's Yamoa in goal, about for Prencha, Contreras, Fus and Deluli. Runnison and Asker in midfield. Velez on the left, Estevez, and then Kim on the right, and Kurt Vilakazi up front. Vilakazi has been really struggling for goals this season as well. He did score in the previous match, but until then, he had been on a long run without scoring any goals. Admittedly, a lot of his football this year had been off the bench while we were trying to make Davies happy by simultaneously playing him and then not being able to renew his contract. Because that's the thing with these players who wanted these new contracts. It wasn't that I was refusing to give them. It's that they were insisting, that's not ideal. They were insisting on being designated players. And as I demonstrated in the last episode, I can't give contracts for designated players, and I don't know why. Even though we've only got 2 and you're allowed 3, we're not allowed a third one. And the game doesn't explain why. The rules don't explain why. So, yeah, that's 2. I mean, Resnek, I'm not that bothered about losing. He shouldn't be a designated player anyway. He wasn't even a regular starter. So I've got no issue with losing him. But Davies was our starting striker and Welsh international. So losing him is a bit of a blow, although Kurt Vilakazi, now he's getting a run in the team again. Looks like he's returning to goal-scoring ways, which is jolly nice to see. So at least we had a ready-made replacement for him. But it feels like it's just going to be an issue that's going to keep coming up with this limit of 3 players earning more than 13 grand. You know, as soon as anyone is any good, they're going to want a pay rise. So it does feel like we need to, in order to have success here, we've got to just have like a perfect storm season where we have an incredible transfer window, bring in 5 or 6 players who are really good and are capable of them not only getting us into the Champions League. We kind of need to get into the Champions League with this squad, then have the incredible transfer window, one shot at winning the Champions League, and then the team gets disassembled. And I think it is by design in American sports, from what I've been reading in the comments, and lots of you have had lots to say about this, but from what I can tell, it is a deliberate aspect of American sports in general, theoretically, to stop certain teams from dominating. Although, yeah, I mean, as an outsider looking in, I just have to look at the Super Bowl and it seems to be the same team in that every year. So it clearly doesn't work in Nuffle. But I think the idea is, with the whole draft thing and salary cap thing and all that kind of stuff, that it means that you don't have teams that can just throw loads of money and dominate and throw more money and dominate, and just like the problem we've got in the Premier League where the rich get richer, and like we've seen the gap between the top half of the Premier League and the promoted teams every year. It's an issue we've got in the Premier League. So I get that it's a way to try and resolve that issue, but all it means is long-term squad building is really hard, because you put together a good team and then immediately have to disassemble it because you're only allowed to keep 3 of the best players because everyone's going to want a pay rise. It's problematic. But we are winning now, which is less problematic. And we are, I mean, this, like I say, if we can have this be the team that sneaks into the Champions League and then have that incredible transfer window, as I'm getting closer and closer to understanding the rules. Obviously, next season we'll have Unlove back as well. Hopefully he won't have regressed having a year out at such an important developmental age. But he was already the best player in the league going into that. So it's not as if he's going to suffer from not having that year of getting better. He might just still come back as the best player in the league and not have got even better. But you could argue if he'd have played all this year, we'd have lost him, because even now, trying to renew his contract, he wants to be a designated player. He wants that massive pay rise that we can't give him. So maybe by having him injured for the year we qualify for the Champions League, we actually get to keep him around for the year we're in it, and he can help us win the thing. It might end up being a blessing in disguise. Who knows? Right, we're going for the pervert corner here. Estevez puts it up into the penalty area where Dylan Deluli is there to nod home. And it's like being at Stellenbosch again. We've had a goal from Vilakazi, we've had a goal from Deluli, and we're chatting about Unlove. Oh, it's like we never left. Nashville's a lovely town. I want to come and live here. We might get the Nashville job. Have they ever won the Champions League? Look at this. This is a wonderful thing. And actually, you know what? We're not a million miles away at the top of the league. Columbus Crew are very good. We know them from the final day of last season. Obviously, they're the ones who stopped us getting into the Champions League last time. And I think they did make it all the way through to the MLS Cup. I think they bottled the final, but they did make it all the way through to the final. Yeah, we know they're good. We don't need to beat them, at least not domestically. We'll obviously need to beat them in the Champions League if it comes down to it, because there's quite a lot of MLS teams who make it into the Champions League. But priority is get into the thing. And we are on course right now. Aska's tired, so Deluli can go forward to play there. And we just shuffle everyone around a little bit at the back. Deluli's tired as well, which is not ideal. This is one of our new boys, Mejia, who's literally just come in to make up the numbers. He's just have to come on and play in that playmaker role. It doesn't really suit him at all. He's a winger, an attacking midfielder, and we're asking him to play as a defensive midfielder. But, I mean, if we learn anything from my retro database video that we did at the weekend, these little attacking players are quite good at playing as defensive midfield. We saw it with Messi in that video. If you haven't watched that video yet, you should watch it. It was a lot of fun. I'm currently contemplating maybe doing a part 2. So go watch it. Go like part 1. If part 1 gets enough likes, we'll do a part 2 to it, because it was a lot of fun. Yeah, we're doing all right. 4-1. We put 6 past whoever it was in our last game. I forget who we played in the last match, but we've scored 10 goals in our last 2 games now. So I think my little bit of surgery, just agreeing to bin off I persisted with trying to keep the revolting players for too long. The moment we've agreed to sell them and unregistered them, all of a sudden we're good again. So it just shows again how overpowered that player mutiny nonsense is in this game. But now Velez is injured. I mean, I'm not putting him on the disabled list. No, he can come back and play. Right, who are we playing now? Toronto, who are well below us in the league. Let's win again. Well, with Velez injured, we have to bring Flores into the team, who's another one of our new players who we've drafted in relatively recently to replace all of the ones we've had to bin off. So he comes in to start on that left-hand side. I mean, he is definitely not the caliber of player I would ever look to bring in. Which, I mean, it's certainly testing some different skills managing an MLS. And we are slowly but surely, I think, working a few things out. I mean, this front four, when compared to the front four in my first game, which is still less than a year ago, if you do a player-by-player comparison, I think the front four is considerably weaker than the one we started with. But the team as a whole, I guess, is slowly improving, which it's a very strange league. But, I mean, Estevez has come in. There's his 6th goal of the season. He seems all right. I might be learning some things about Football Manager here. I didn't think there was anything left to learn. But maybe you can put together a bunch of 28 to 31-year-old journeymen, and as long as you sprinkle it with a couple of decent young players like Deluli, Foos, Vilakazi, and then 2 or 3 stars, and as we know, we're only allowed 2, but 2 or 3 stars, and all of a sudden, you've actually got quite a good team on your hands. And Deluli, reinventing himself as a right-back, having already reinvented himself earlier in the season as a holding midfield player, he's just the ultimate defensive utility man. And I mean, he's putting in some good work on this right-hand side already today. I'm really looking forward to seeing him and Unlove team up next season on the right-hand side. One guy who I tried and failed to turn into a right-back, and one guy who I accidentally let become a right-back. It's going to be lovely. Here is Deluli again. There you go, look, see? Plays the ball into Kim. He's a very useful right back. He's got the ball in some space now, finds the crack, cuts it into Kim, in fact. This is all Deluli. And that's 2-0. Less than 10 minutes on the clock still. And we're 2-0 up, and we are playing some very nice football again. We just needed to get rid of the bad eggs, and we'd be top of the league. I think that's my new policy for managing an MLS. The moment somebody is unhappy, doesn't matter how good they are, bin them off. The moment somebody wants that big pay rise and wants to mess up my designated player structure, bin them off. Doesn't matter how good they are. Nobody is irreplaceable. I actually think because building a squad in this league is so hard, if we can just have 15 vaguely first team quality players who are all happy, I think that's going to put us so far ahead of most of the rest of the league. It's such a strange way to manage, but I might, what are we, 6 episodes in? I might have figured out the secret sauce. We just need average players who aren't grumpy and fit within the pay structure. It's very odd. I don't know how this is going to have a stack up against the Mexicans. We need to get into the Champions League and test it. Well, I think that Leagues Cup comes back again in the second half of the season. I don't know if all the MLS teams get in it or if we were only in it the year before because we'd done quite well the year before that. But hopefully we've got the Leagues Cup to look forward to. And we can face off against some Mexican teams again and get a feel for how we weigh up against them. Villa Kazi with a free header inside the 6-yard box, you'd have put your car on him scoring to put us 3-0 up there, but it has been all Charlotte. And look at that from Big Kurt. He's playing like the big target man we know he is again. He's got his mojo back. He just needed to get that grumpy chap out of the way. Quick strikers, nah, not interested. I want big strikers. Big meaty boys is the way forward. That's a familiar looking name. Is he? Hold on. I mean, there's probably more than one Mbemba in the world, but just checking. Oh, he's from Congo. No. I had some players with very similar names. I'd be very happy if some of my other boys made it to this league eventually, because I want to hang out with them again. We had a lovely time together at Stellenbosch. I'd like a reunion. Look at Contreras' hair, by the way. We don't talk about his excellent haircut often enough because I'm too busy wondering about other things, but he really does have sensational hair. Kim is in here and it's 3-0. Don't mess me around, referee. Come on. I think we're all happy that this is job done today, 15 minutes in. Of course we are. What's this? 13 goals in 3 matches? Or 13 goals in 2 and a bit matches now. How many can we rattle in today? We could actually win the conference after all, because we're back in the same kind of form we were in towards the end of last season when we went on that winning streak, which coincidentally also started with selling off a key player. It happened just before I arrived, but sold off a key player who presumably wanted away. And that's the key. That's the secret to managing an MLS. There's your big deep cross to Kurt Villakazi, and he'll nod them in all day long. That's how you get goals with that man in the team. Just get the big, high, deep crosses in. And 4-0. 15 minutes in, 4-0. Go easy on them, lads. Save some goals. We don't want this to be the longest video in history. We don't need it. We don't need to reach double figures. We can just see this one out from here. I'm very happy with how things are going. Look at that. Villakazi's all over him. Was that Villakazi? No, that's Asker. They're both very big. But they're in behind here. And, I mean, Yamoa's had one thing to do today, and he didn't do it. It's 4-1. I mean, it's action-packed for sure. The locals who might be more used to their hockey or their basketball, these hockey high-scoring end-to-end stuff. We're doing American-style football, high-scoring end-to-end. We don't need to defend, but we're good at attacking. And we're in behind again here, and Estevez should have made it 5. But this is an absurd number of highlights. We're only on key highlights. We're creating so much. We've scored 4 goals from an XG of only 1.5. And to be fair, they've scored from their one shot on an XG of 0.1. This is just, and it's not a great advert for American goalkeepers right now, I don't think. But we are on the attack again, and it's Estevez playing it into Asker. And now Deluli back to Asker. That's 2 centre-backs combining, I'll point out. Neither of them playing at centre-back. And now Prencha on the left-hand side, back to Flores. And now it's into Estevez again. And that's a good save from their keeper. I mean, I said it wasn't a good advert for American goalkeepers. They've decided to show off now. But now we're loading up our big boys in the middle. Flores with the outswinger, looking for Contreras. We prefer an in-swinger, really. Outswingers, it's not the route to success. Asker with a terrible attempt at a long throw. I don't even know what he's planning there. There you go. He's planning to win the ball back. It was tactical all along. And he is just dancing around. It's into Kim, and Kim gives the ball away. But we are just on him. We're not giving him a second. The pressing is excellent in this match. They just cannot get the ball. We win it back off him immediately. Deluli again slides it into Kim, who gets in behind, across to Vilakazi. That was an open goal. I don't know how he's missed that one. But it's now back with Asker. And now Deluli. This is fun to watch when we're playing this well. Look at us go. They're playing with a flat back 6 as well. And they just can't. Our 4 is just pressing their 6 and they can't cope with it. Which doesn't make any sense at all. Just shows how good we are. We're very, very good. Let's go and win the league. Right. No need to make any changes because everything is going beautifully. I've just realised I've got my central midfielders the wrong way around. Let's swap them back the way they're supposed to be. I don't know why selection advice keeps sticking them that way around, but I'm not swapping them back again because they're both there. I've got to start looking at positions. Looking at positions is very complicated. Right. I wonder if that's going to ruin everything, your mother. There you go. That's why we signed him. That's why we've got the best goalkeeper in the MLS. And now Contreras playing it out from the back, and we are on the move again. And there's Big Kurt, and I mean Estevez he feels like an upgrade, even though he shouldn't be. But he is just all over everything. He's such a nuisance of a player. And he's a good finisher as well. It's jolly nice to see. Right, Deluli dancing past their player again. Once again, slides it into Kim. Cross comes over. Vilakazi's there. We already said that's the recipe for a Kurt Vilakazi goal. He's not offside. He's too tall to be offside, ref. Don't mess with us. Just give it. This is all wasting a lot of time, referee. Hideous. Absolutely hideous. I don't want to see your replay. I saw what I wanted to see, and that 100% was a goal. And I think we all know we're only 5 points off the top of the league as it stands now, with 2 games in hand as well. All of a sudden, from the start of the episode looking well off the pace, we actually seem to be potentially challenging again. All it took was a couple of wins. We've only lost 1 game in the league all year. So we are, even when we were struggling, we've remained hard to beat. But we've just added goal scoring back to the mix by getting rid of grumpy attackers. This is another of our new boys who's just arrived, Stig Andre Lenning, who's in from Tromsø on a free transfer. And I mean, that's again, if we could get anything close to a goal return like that. He's scored it. I mean, he's got a goal contribution more than every other game throughout his entire career in Norway. He is 29 years old now, and he's never played outside of Norway before. So it's going to be interesting to see how quickly he can adapt at the age that he is. But if he ends up half as good as he has the potential to be, he's going to be awesome. Right. Foose has gone out to right back as we continue trying to force that to be a thing that happens. And now all eyes on Lenning because he's only just arrived. Is he going to be any good is the question. Asker in midfield plays it back to Contreras. Lenning's the number 12, so that's Preska. That's Lenning ahead of him. Just give it to him and let him have a little run and see what he does. It's Estevez, in fact, who's just running the show, and he's kind of the prototype for the likes of Kim and Lenning and Meja and all these 2.5-star older players that we're now bringing in, because there's no point bringing in the young players with high potential, because as soon as they have 3 good games, they want to become designated players. But there you go, Lenning selling the dummy for Proença. I've decided that's what's happened there. Cross comes in, Estevez, it falls to Foose, who has the shot from range. Was that a save? I think that might have been the crossbar. He very nearly scored an absolute worldie. Right, 2 more changes. We are going to take off Big Kurt, give him a little bit of a rest. And then we'll also take off Contreras, give him a rest as well. Everybody's done their bit today. 2 wins. Jolly good. Now we just need to keep this little bit of a run of form going, hopefully take it into the League's Cup, assuming we're in it, and give ourselves a couple of potential routes to the Champions League and maybe a little opportunity at some silverware, whether it's through the League's Cup, whether it's through the MLS Cup. We'd quite like to lift a trophy, if that could be arranged. But that has been a jolly, efficient episode. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.